The other day I got into my car and I drove myself to the thrift store and I found one of those. And then I found one of these. Well, actually, I didn't just find one of these. I found two of these. I also found one of these things. I wanted to make a Rapunzel costume from Tangled. Well, looking for inspiration on my very favorite inspiration website, Google Images, I found this image. And I took a screenshot to show you. Hopefully that's not illegal. If you know who the talented artist is, let me know. Anyway, I realized I'd much prefer to make the Barbie Rapunzel costume instead. But not the Barbie Rapunzel costume that the Barbie doll wears. No, I wanted to make the one that she actually wears in the movie. As you can see, they are definitely different. See? Different. I was gonna have to splurge and actually purchase some items, so I got this gold trim, this gorgeous sparkly tulle, which you can't really tell how sparkly it is, but it's going to make a beautiful overlayer. Oh, one other thing that I didn't have to purchase or thrift was this sheer curtain that I had in my stash. But what about that pink dress that I had gotten for the Rapunzel Tangle costume? This won't work for the Barbie one. Welp, I can wear it. It turns out it actually fits. I hadn't tried it on before, but I'm gonna have to wear this with jeans because I haven't shaved my legs since Christmas Eve, and it's cold. Also, I might need to put my sweater back on because did I mention it's cold? I'm just doing my thing, gathering up all the materials and items that I'm going to need to make this costume, etc., etc. I've had to hand stitch some of the boning channels back together before, and then sometimes where the boning channels were gone, it was just easier to sew in little tabs. Well, I go and I get my hoop skirt. All of this hoop is exposed. It's just, it broke right out of the channel. All of this hoop is exposed, and all of that hoop over there is exposed. And I really don't think it has anything to do with this.
Hey guys, guess what? It's 30 degrees. But it only feels like 21. You know what that means. It's summertime! I've got to stop doing this!
I don't know, let me know though, like if you think it has something to do with this, like it could be. Help me solve the mystery. I have my hoop skirt all set up and I put this petticoat over it. It's just the petticoat that I made for my candy corn witch costume. Now we're going to move on to the skirt. I recently moved everything around in my room again, so I don't have any floor space, so I had to bring it out to the living room. Also, if you can figure out what song I'm singing in the next clip, brownie points to you. Alali. That was a hint, by the way. I don't want to distract you from figuring out which song this is, but I also know that it might be a little boring to watch me sing a song when you can't actually hear any of the audio, but I will give you a little bit of a hint. I loved this song when I was a child, and it comes from one of the best Disney sequels ever. And it's great. I love it. What I cut out were 2 panels from the curtain and then 1 panel from the sheer. It ended up being 54 inches by 40 inches. And then it was time to sew all of the right sides together on the short end. So I sewed 1 purple piece to that end, 1 purple piece to the other end. And I wanted to sew those up with some color coordinating thread, and also I was still jamming to my Disney tunes. Once I got my bobbin wound, I went ahead and I sewed up those edges. Alrighty, here we have the skirt pieces. So the pinkish purplish material, the sheer material, and then the pinkish purplish material again, and it's all sewn up. So now I'm gonna put the right sides together. And I'm gonna sew, leaving about a 6 to 8 inch space for the zipper / closure or whatever I decide to throw in there. And then it was time to gather the top of the skirt. I did this by sewing 2 parallel lines all the way around the skirt with my longest stitch length. And then once that was done, I went ahead and I pulled and gathered. Here's the skirt all laid out. I went ahead and I sewed up the center back, and I just wanted to show you what a difference gathering makes. This pin here marks the center of the fabric. This is my gathered side, and this right here is my non-gathered side. It makes a huge difference. All of that fabric is going to be cinched into this tiny little waist to make tons and tons of volume. And then it was time to hem the skirt, but I didn't want to hem it because I wanted to spin in it first, just to test it out, you know, make sure it was actually worthwhile, make sure it was a fully functioning skirt. You know, I don't want to waste time hemming it if it's not spin worthy, you know?
Cupcake. I am a cupcake. I am a cupcake. I am a cupcake. That didn't sound powerful enough. I am a cupcake.
And as soon as I had gotten done being a cupcake, I went ahead and I started hemming the skirt, except I ran out of my bobbin thread, so I had to go ahead and get some more of that bobbin thread. So here we go, bobbin thread. And once I was done hemming, I decided to make a cake. It was a pistachio pudding cake. I think that's how you say it. I say pistachio. I don't know if you say pistachio, but I say pistachio. Anyway, it looks a lot better here where it's being blended. Doesn't it look so pretty? I love the color of pistachio cake. But now as I say pistachio, that sounds wrong. So maybe it's really pistachio? I went ahead and I cut out 2 of these. They're about that long, and I cut them from the ruffle of the curtain, so they were already curved. And then I went ahead and I put them right sides together, one on each side of the skirt. So I guess one was right sides to wrong. Anyway, and then they kind of sandwiched the skirt. Once I had sewn down my little waistband sandwich, I went ahead and I sewed up the top with a zigzag stitch, and I put in the zipper. Look how even that is. I just wanted to show you because that's the best I've done in a really long time with a zipper. It looks good. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, and it's swooshy. Now, I can't believe that I actually got the skirt done completely without getting sidetracked by anything else, but then after I was done with the skirt, which I actually completed all in one completion, whatever, I went ahead and I made the bodice. I went ahead and I adjusted the pattern pieces a bit, and I kind of lengthened some things, and I extended some things, and, you know, added some curves here and there, and, you know, I got these. Also, can you hear that? Listen. What you doing, baby? What you doing, little thing? Hi. Hello, you coming to say hi? Aww. You saying hi? Aww. You're a good girl. Now that we've said hi to our little chunky girl, and our bodice pieces and overlayers are cut out, it's time to move on to our literally our glittery overlayers. I am so 100% not ready for my room to be covered in glitter, but it is so pretty. Ah, look at that sparkle. Now I've gone ahead and I've made the overlayer for the front part of the pink bodice and for the purple sleeves. I'm voicing over this clip because I was tired and it was the end of the night and I was kind of talking slow and whatever. It wasn't as fun as this voiceover here. Basically, I just sewed that overlayer on. I put the sleeves right sides together and I sewed them up on that little inseam, and then I took a double long stitch on my machine, so basically gathering stitches, and I went ahead and I gathered all the way the bottom part that goes near the elbow there, and then I only gathered up half of the top puffy part of this because that other part that doesn't have the gathering seams on it is going to be by the armpit, and that part right there, we don't want that part sewn up with gathers because it would be uncomfortable. And here on this clip you can see how the gathering adds that nice little poof right above the elbow. And here on the top part of the sleeve that goes on the shoulder and the armpit, you can see how I only gathered up part of it. And here is me wearing the sleeve. Well, that's not me wearing the sleeve, that's the picture of Barbie Rapunzel, but here is me wearing the sleeve. I found this cute little pony sheet down in my stash. I forgot my sister had picked this up at the yard sale. Not the yard sale, the thrift store, when she got this shower curtain here. And I thought it would be so cute to have this be the lining of the Barbie dress, because you'll unzip it and you won't ever expect this to be in there, but it is. Plus it should be light enough, except for like these little ponies here, that I don't think it's gonna show through at all. Also, I'm out of breath because I ran down to the basement. I grabbed this and I ran right back up. But also, I think this is going to be really soft for a lining because it used to be an old bed sheet. So it's perfect. Now that we have all those little technical details out, let's go ahead and actually get sewing our lining and our bodice. And here we have coming up our outer bodice. Look at that. It's coming along nicely. All I did was sew the 2 back pieces to the front 2 pieces and the whatever I'm trying to say, and that front sparkly panel. And here's the lining. It'll be so cute hiding on the inside. And then I decided to take another break. Not to bake a cake though. I decided to take a break to plan out this year's 2021 garden. Even though it only feels like 23 degrees outside according to my weather app. My bad, 27 degrees. Here we have my mix match socks and the bodice. So far I have my lining with my lining sleeve sewn in. I have my outer bodice with my outer bodice sleeve sewn in, and I sewed them along the neckline. I had to take the boning out. I had already put in the channels, but I took the boning out just to make sewing the necklines together easier. So I'm going to throw in that boning real quick. And here's the bodice now that those lower sleeves are sewn in. Here is the inside out version, I guess, or the inner lining bits, and this is what the sleeve looks like once it's pulled out. You can see that I just sewed the puffy sleeve to the bodice right sides together, and then I went ahead and I took my puffy sleeve and my straight sleeve, or whatever I'm going to call it, and I put those right sides together and I just sewed. So here is the outside of the bodice once the lining has been folded over and put onto the inside. So here's the inside lining that would be closest to the body, I suppose. And you can see how the sleeves are on the inside. You can fold over the left and the right. And this is what it would look like from the outside. We would just put a lace up in the back and finish off the edges of the sleeve in the bodice. Right here though, you can see that the lining sleeve is on the inside of the sleeve. And when you pull it out, it's not sewn into the lining. So we're just gonna have to turn this whole bodice inside out, and we're gonna have to tack that down. How we're going to do that is by turning the entire bodice inside out, and then we're just going to take our sleeves, we're going to fold up those raw edges, we're going to place it over the purple raw edges that are also going to be folded up, and then we're going to sew it down so that this nice side is what's up against our body on the inside, and then we're going to do that to both sides of the sleeves. Also, I forgot to mention you're going to want to sew this by hand. Here you can see a little bit better how that lining ended up turning out. So, you have the sleeve, this is the bodice here. To give you a little context, here is how I just hand tacked that all the way down and around. Next up, we're going to go ahead and take our bodice, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the boning into the boning channels like so. And then we're going to go ahead and finish up the back and put in a lace, and we're going to finish up the bottom of the sleeves, and then we're going to finish up the bottom of our bodice. But before we finish up the bottom of the bodice, we're going to grab our reference photo, and we're going to look at a reference photo, and our reference photo shows us that there's no binding because it was probably a solid dress, not a separate skirt and bodice. But that's okay. We're just going to fold in the fabric like this and sew. And then we're going to look at our reference photo again, and it looks like we need glitter. So I went ahead and I grabbed my sparkly glitter, and bam, I had glitter on my skirt, and I added some more glitter tulle, and wham, I had even more glitter. Okay, it actually wasn't like that. It took a little more longer than that. It took this long. What? I promise you I can speak English, at least to some degree. Anyway, here's the bodice I ended up pinning on and then hand sewing all of this gorgeous gold trim. I also added in a closure. I just hand sewed some eyelets, and then I was done, and I had a very, very glittery floor. And like those twinkle toes we wore as kids? Well, actually, I never had those shoes because they were expensive, but I have legit twinkle toes now. You see this? My feet, or my socks rather, were so sparkly. And here is the finished dress. I never actually got any good videos or pictures of it, and I would like to do that eventually. There will be outdoor videos and pictures coming soon, so keep an eye on my Instagram. Just kidding, I actually haven't used my Instagram in ages, but watch out on my TikTok because I'll post something there. I did get some footage of my littlest sister trying to wear this dress. It was too big for her, but surprisingly it actually fit her well enough considering that it was made for me and she's supposed to be my littlest sister. She's growing too fast.
Can I see it?
Yeah. You look kind of like Sophia the First with your hair. Your hair looks really short right now.